Hey, good day, everybody. This is Brian Terrian here with Philip Price. How you doing, Philip?
Doing great. How are you, Brian?
Good, good. We have uh, doing this kind of a collaboration because I wanted to help people understand the work that Philip and other advocates do here or have done here at the Disability Digest and how it might benefit you in a variety of ways, meaning that their ability to help you get your benefits, keep your benefits, and maximize your benefits. So thank you, Philip, for taking a few moments.
Pleasure. My pleasure.
Yeah, speaking of pleasures, I've had the pleasure of working with you for about 4 years now here at the Disability Digest. So I thank you for your contribution and helping people work here. So that the listeners know, Philip is a Social Security disability recipient and came here about 4 years ago and went through an interview process and works here a few hours a week, helping people get their benefits, keep their benefits, maximize their benefits. And Philip is one of other advocates that are here. So Philip has agreed to share his story and a little bit about his background, his experience, his journey in getting approved. And then at the end, for those of you that are looking for some assistance, we'll give you some next step directions on how you can take advantage of speaking with somebody like Philip. So, sound good?
Sounds great.
All right. So let's do this. Help the audience understand, Philip, what you did for your work as your profession before you unfortunately had to stop working.
Well, for 35 plus years, I was a carpenter. Uh, when I graduated high school, I went to work as in a cabinet shop as a cabinet maker training.
Mm-hmm.
And over the years, doing that type of work, progressed into owning my own business, developing and building my own business as a cabinet maker. Um, and of course, being in that type of work, your eyes and your hands are your lifeline. And as time progressed, my health conditions got worse. I lost my eyesight. I am visually impaired. I'm not totally blind, but I am visually impaired. And um, naturally because of that, I couldn't progress with my business. I had to stop working because of that. And I had to stop driving, you know.
Mm.
Um, we are, we sometimes take for granted the um, things that we're able to do, our freedoms, and being able to just walk out of the house and get in your vehicle and go somewhere and do something. You know, go to the store, go out to eat. You know, just everything in general, and you lose that. It really can take a toll on your mental abilities. And I spent um, much of my career on the road, traveling back and forth from job to job.
Mm-hmm.
My responsibility as the owner was to go out and, of course, sell the work, go out and measure the jobs, come back and do the paperwork in the office, do the diagrams, printouts and stuff for the guys that will work for me in the shop. And um, all that was lost, or you lose all that when you can't use your hands or your eyes.
It's amazing. Yeah. I'm thinking of your story right now, and as a running this business, I see there was an earlier transition going from working for somebody, right, and then taking the leap into getting into your own business. Unless you had some unique set of circumstances, usually there's a bunch of issues there that were challenging,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah. And I didn't come from a high education. Matter of fact, I quit school in the 10th grade
Mm-hmm.
and have a formal education. I had to go out and my mom, it was just me and my mother it raised me, and I had to do something to help contribute to support the household.
Mm-hmm.
So I stopped working, I stopped school, went to work in the cabinet shop, and uh, everything I've had to do in my life, I've had to work at it very hard or extra hard to advance. And I've been fortunate that I can comprehend past pretty easily. I shouldn't say that. I really have to work at it to understand some things. But I guess my strength is that I don't stop. I won't quit. If I see something I want to do, I'm gonna stumble. I'm gonna fall. I'm gonna make a lot of mistakes, but I'm gonna get to the end goal and finish it. Just like applying for disability. When I determined that I was going to have to stop working, and a lot of people that are in the Facebook group that are joining, I hear a lot about, well, they're the biggest hurdle to overcome is the mental thought that you have to rely on somebody, that you have to stop working, being able to support yourself. And that's something that a lot of people have trouble with, and I understand it. But at some point, you've got to stop and ask for that help.
Yeah, it's an amazing situation. But if you don't ask for the help and you're not able to work, then individuals can become more of a problem, really.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So in your work in the cabinetry business and then running a business, your vision gets compromised. And were there other conditions that you had? Like, what was the driving force that caused you to lose your vision?
The eyesight was the biggest. Or that was what made me stop working, or had to stop working. But after that, I developed cardiovascular disease. I had to have open heart surgery. I had a full cabbage bypass. And then, and the reason I lost my eyesight and the cardiovascular and all that is because I'm a diabetic also. Okay. And it runs deep and long in my family history. And it eventually I lost my kidney function at stage 4 kidney failure. I had a kidney transplant in 2019. And the cardiovascular disease. And, just other multitudes of medical conditions that are related to the diabetes.
Yeah. So the challenges continue. So for those that are listening out there, they might be wondering, well, okay, Philip, what was your disability approval process like? What do you remember from it?
That was, and of course, anybody that's going through it or trying to get started, they know it's very, very challenging. And like I said earlier, the first thing is getting over the mental part of it. Is this what I want to do? And a lot of people think, God, I don't want to do this. I don't want to go on disability. It's a handout or a free government assistance.
Right.
And it's you can't think that way. It's, you've worked, you've paid into the system. That's the whole point of the program, is for you to have something to fall back on if you're not able to work. So don't put yourself in that situation where you're going to wind up either homeless or living in a relative's garage or a friend's garage somewhere.
Good God.
Take that jump and ask for that help.
Right.
You'd be surprised when people want to help
you. Yeah. At least explore your options, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there's a few different scenarios in that. Is you can get approved, focus on your health, try to reload, get back to work. Or
you're correct. Your question, what was the process?
Yeah.
When I decided that I wasn't going to be able to work, I was going to have to do something. I started exploring my options, and I researched it a little bit, but I had no idea what it was going to entail once I filled that application out and submitted it. And I didn't really even know that there was organizations out there, groups that would help do it. I just jumped in and did it myself because I'm very independent, extremely independent, probably to a fault, independent. So I did it on my own, and from start to finish, it took me 6 months from the time I filled it out to the time I was approved. And you know as well as I do, you taught me that that is not the case all the time. That is very rare.
Yeah.
To be that fast, but I guess because of my vision loss, that's kind of hard to argue with.
Right.
And my education had a lot to do with it. All I knew was being a carpenter. That's all I ever did. Working with my hands. So there wasn't a whole lot else that I could do. So I guess they couldn't argue with that,
Right.
And they being Social Security.
And Philip, how old are you when you were approved?
I was 50.
50. Okay.
I'm 61 now.
Yeah. So approved in 6 months. Good for you. That takes a lot of, pressure off of it.
But the process, I mean, you file, and I had to jump through all the hoops, filling out all the applications, going to their doctor appointments. And that is traumatic right there because I thought, they were sent, because of my eyesight, they were sending me to an eye doctor to do an evaluation. Well, they sent me to a psychologist.
Right.
I probably mean it anyway, but.
Well, you bring up a good point. I mean, going through the disability approval process has the mental mindset, and the mental mindset, you hear it a lot in other areas. You hear it in sports, you hear it in business, you hear it in you just need to have the right mental mindset. So that's a great message for people. So you were approved. You were approved before you came here and became a member of the Disability Digest. Otherwise, we would have been delighted to help you out. But it sounds like you did just fine. How did you find us? Remember?
Just, like I said, I'm very inquisitive. Searching. I come across, I don't even remember what website I was on that I found the Disability Digest.
Right.
But I clicked on it and went into it to the members area. Once I became a member, I went in through the members area and started through the 10-step approval process that is on the website, and started reading. And mostly, I guess I found it because I was looking for other avenues of help, because even after you're approved for disability and you start receiving your benefits, there's still other areas that you need help in, that some people on disability need help. Once I was approved, 24 months later, then my Medicare kicked in, and that's a big brain Rubik's Cube of
That's a good analogy.
yeah, trying to figure out, and I had no idea. So
Yeah, yeah.
Disability Digest has helped me understand that process also.
Hmm.
This has been a big, big school learning expedition for
Yeah,
me,
yeah, yeah.
and it's been an adventure.
Hmm. Well, I want to share our working experience, speaking of enormous learning curves. So you applied for an advocate position here at the Disability Digest. We have members that are approved for disability. They can apply and they come to work here, part-time, and they earn some money, stay below the legal limit, supplement their disability, keep their benefits, help other people. So Philip applies. Now, hearing Philip's story, Philip had, I don't know if you really had any transitional experience to understand like how to, get member information and contact him and do the advocate work, right? As a carpenter.
Zero.
But I'll tell you what you do have is, although you don't have any formal education, your ability to relate and communicate to people and help them feel comfortable is what's priceless, and it's no pun intended. That is not something that can be taught. So what I admire about you is you, exactly as you said, you came in here and you said something to the effect like, listen, man, you're going to have to be patient with me. You've said that a few times, right? And with no real computer service type of business, everything we do is online now. Philip, and not only not having the experience, you're visually impaired. So 2 strikes, right? You've learned it, and you've helped countless people here. You've helped people get approved. You've helped people that are on their benefits understand what their options are and how to keep them, how to maximize them. So my message to anybody that's out there, if you're approved for disability, first of all, you can work, keep your benefits. And if you take the Philip Price approach and just really break it down and be persistent, there's a lot of opportunity out there for people to work. I'm not saying it's here at the Disability Digest, although we do welcome people to work here, but there's a lot of opportunity. So no, you're truly inspirational for me in how you've approached this to get to where you're at.
On that note, let me say that if you are on disability, and you say it all the time, just because you've been approved and you're on disability, don't pick up that remote and sit on that couch and spend the rest of your days looking through that remote. You've got to do something. You've got to stay active.
Right.
I do this because I'm passionate about it. I want to help others improve their quality of life.
Mm-hmm. As well as improve yours, right? You feel like you're contributing.
Yeah, it helps me.
Yeah. Actually, on that note, I mean, do you have any success stories or individuals that stand out in, the time that you've been doing this that, like, oh, well, this would be an interesting story to share?
Yeah, I mean, there's been several. Mike Hatterton is one that we helped out, that called me one day, or he had joined as a member with the Disability Digest. I contacted him, as we do with all of our members, and talked to him for a few minutes about his situation. And he was a farmer up in West Texas, far west. And he was wanting to file, and I don't want to say anything to hurt Mike's feelings, but I am my education isn't that great. Mike was, well, you get the point.
Fill in the blanks.
And Mike was really, really in need of some assistance, and he had no idea on what to do. He was a cattle rancher. He had cattle, and I so am a cattle rancher myself, and I understood his situation. You know, you get sick and you get ill, and you're not able to go out there and function like you need to, and cattle take a lot of energy. And Mike just didn't have any clue on what to do. And I literally had to take that guy by the hand and walk him through the process. He called me at least 4 times a day, every day.
Oh boy.
And he was one of those that we actually got approved pretty quick.
Right.
Pretty fast. I think his was by 4 or 5 months and he was approved.
Mm-hmm.
And and he was like me. Once he got into it, he started to get really interested and inquisitive about it. And Mike's, actually, when he was approved, his back pay, there was a big discrepancy on his back pay. When he finally was approved, they paid him, but it wasn't all of his back pay. It was about a third, I believe. I remember right. Well, Mike took it upon himself to dispute it. And that's very tricky, as you know, and you teach in the course that if you're going to do that, you got to be very careful about it. And Mike took it upon himself and did it himself, disputed it, and he wound up getting all of his money. Social Security had to go back and pay him.
Yes. That is definitely a story that stands out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more there, but I'm not going to go into it.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's good. No,
there's several other. There's people across the country that I've talked to and helped that have been homeless, desperate, or either fixing to be evicted from their homes that are desperate and they need help. And we've helped them get approved and save their homes, save their ability to be able to be a person, be a human being.
Right. Have some dignity.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very moving. I wish in my own, part of the world here, I wish that I didn't have to do this work. I don't have to do this. I choose this work. But I tell you, when you do what you've done for people and do that, it's like a drug. It's tough to give up the work while it needs to be done. Yeah.
And I see it all day, every day in the Facebook group.
Yep.
My Facebook group, that there's people across the country, or people that are joining every day that post their stories on there, and and they're just screaming for some kind of clarification, some kind of help.
Right.
And that's why the Facebook group is there. That's why Disability Digest. I work for Disability Digest so that I can try to offer them that assistance and that knowledge, what I've learned over the past 4 years.
Sure.
Help them.
Yeah, I think you've hit on a big point. Part of the challenge in getting from A to B for people is getting the right information, right? I mean, like the Michael story, like you helped him to do this whole thing on his own, right?
Yeah.
But you had the right answers, and you look at some of the comments and the feedback and the answers that people get to questions out there, they're commonly not getting the right answer. One wrong answer can screw you up for months or prevent you from,
Yeah,
right? So,
exactly. And I see a lot of that on Facebook too. Somebody will post their
yeah,
story.
yeah,
And
yeah. Well, it's
they'll,
nice of you to do the group for people. That's a good gesture that you're doing. As we get ready to wrap up here, I just want to ask for a few nuggets of advice on different questions. Like,
okay.
what advice would you have for people that are listening to this? They're like, yeah, I want to get approved fast. Like, what advice do you have for them?
Well, the first thing would be don't 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 be so uh, fast to jump in, and especially with the initial application stage. Don't be so quick to jump in, fill it out, and I understand that you need to do something. You need to get off your rear and get something going so that you can survive. But you've got to be prepared. Everybody that I talk to and help get approved, I tell them in the beginning, you have to do your homework first. You need to be prepared,
Yeah.
and that entails going to your doctors, talking to your doctors. Your medical records are critical in proving your case.
Mm-hmm.
Get yourself educated on the process. That's number one. You got to know um, uh, what it's going to entail if you apply and you get it and you're denied. You got to know what's involved there. A lot of people don't know that. I've talked to a lot of people that apply, are denied, and they don't understand that there's an appeals process.
Yeah. Imagine that.
Appeal that decision and go on with it, and they
Right.
give up, stop.
Right.
And that would be the other advice: is don't stop, don't quit. Um, Use your right to appeal and take advantage of it.
Yeah. I 100% concur with you. I feel that, and I've seen a lot of people that they'll look for a quick fix of like, I'll go hire an attorney.
Yeah.
Well, you can do that, but if you don't know the process, how do you know that the person that you hired is
Yeah.
actually doing what needs to be done to get you approved? So that's great advice.
Yeah.
Great advice. Once somebody is approved, from your own personal experience, you shared a little bit about that, and you've talked to, I don't know how many others. What advice do you have for people living on a fixed income? They want to know if there's more, how to maximize their benefits.
Yes. Once you're approved, you need to well, we're all of us that are on disability understand that we are on a budget, and you've got to squeeze every penny you can to survive and live a dignified life, and you need to stay involved with it, or do your due diligence in following some of our theories, and that is that you try to improve your medical coverage through Medicare. Once you're on disability, you get your Medicare coverage. There's areas there that you can save money in.
Mm-hmm.
Prescription drugs, that's a big thing. Being somebody like myself that's a diabetic on insulin dependent, I've learned in the beginning it was most of my income that was left over at the end of the month, I had to spend in medications, and I take a lot of medications, but the insulin was the big factor. Well, I had to do some research to find out if there was programs out there that could save me money on those medicines. And I found them just by doing the research.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
you know, that's a tip that I can share with people, and can't do it right now. It's too long to go into, but there are programs out there that you can join that will help you with those medications. Some of them are very, very low cost, and some of them are zero.
Yeah.
Doesn't cost you anything. And you have to get involved with it and want to do the research.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In order to find those things. And I can help with that. If you're a member of the Facebook group, or if you become a member with the Disability Digest, I can help with those things.
Yeah. There's a lot of hacks out there where you can get around what people view to be or accept as just the norm and pay for it. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
You know, so that's great advice. Yeah. You know, the set it and forget it is not
the autopilot needs to stay out there until
yeah, you don't want to be doing that. There's always changes to this. Next and the last thing I want to be respectful of your time, is that for people that have an interest in supplementing their disability income, keeping their benefits, or maybe just volunteering, Philip, just doing something to get back into it. What do you have for advice that
just,
you know?
Yeah, do something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've said it before, and it's something that people need to, especially if you're on disability and your days are long. When you're on disability, your days are long because you're not out in you should be, and you could be out in the public doing things. But I tend to, over the years, see that a lot of people that are on disability tend to be hermits, and they stay in their house, and they don't go anywhere, and they don't do anything. You've got to get out and get back into that. You've got to stay involved in your community, your family, and just do anything. You know, try to find something. Do it if you can do what I do with being a disability advocate, or go to your local church or your community group. Do something, get involved, and keep busy. Mama used to say it all the time: either use it or lose it, boy. And that's something you have to do it. You can't sit on that couch with that remote all day long.
Right. No, that's great advice. And I think a lot of people, in my experience, they struggle with, well, what can I do? Because I'm not where I was at before. But like in your situation, working here as an advocate and others, I mean, you maybe have couple hours a day that you can do this, but you've got a couple hours a day, and your couple hours a day, I mean, you speak to one or two people a day with your experience and your position, you make a big difference for people. And, you know, if others can just approach it with that mindset, you know,
you don't have to do something 6, 7, 8 hours a day. If you can just do 2 to 3 hours, occupy your time for 2 to 3 hours and do good for somebody, then that's the reward in itself.
Yep. No, that's great advice. And disability recipients are on disability because they can't do stuff, I mean, for the most part. So so there you have it. But listen, this has been fantastic. I truly inspirational. I mean, your story and how you transitioned, and the patience and the persistence that you had is truly remarkable. I you know, people ask me why I do this work like friends, and they're like, how can you do that? But I can do this because, yeah, you do listen to a lot of individuals out there that, have the woe it's me story, but then you have situations like yourself and what you've gone through and what you've done. And I mean, you doing that, I mean, it's no reason why I can't get my ass out of bed and go to work every day. So thank you for the inspiration.
There's no reason nobody,
Yeah.
anybody couldn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So the next steps are, depends where you're listening to this interview. If it's in Philip's private Facebook group that he works with, then, just look around and you'll see a link. If it's somewhere out in social media with Disability Digest, same thing, you look for a link. If you'd like some help from Philip or somebody else like Philip. And how we can help you here is the disability space and the information in your situation, there's so many variables. And then since we've been doing this since 2006, as we've created this evaluation process where you can, in a few minutes, you can answer some questions, and it will help us understand where you're at in the process and what your goal is. And then we can partner that up with information that we have and match you up with people like Philip. So just look for the link below, click on it, complete the evaluation. Last thing is, oftentimes, again, there isn't any one size fits all for people. And you might get an actual call from an advocate to learn a little bit more about how we can help you. And if you do, be respectful of their time. There's no charge for your membership. There's no charge for the work that we do. We're supported, by advertisers and sponsors, which allows us to do it. But if they call, just get back to them so that, it makes it easy for us to help you. So that's it, Philip, my friend. Thanks for taking the time once again. Truly inspiring.